Arsenal could win the Premier League and Champions League this season and are technically in pole position to win the Premier League. But I think next season they're going to be even more dangerous. They've been linked to some big transfer targets. They'll have another year to gain experience, mould. It's a young squad. Klopp is leaving Liverpool. Manchester City have got 115 charges ahead. And we're going to talk about sort of Arsenal's rebuild ahead of next season, where Arsenal could potentially be next season, and the players they're linked to, who they're likely to buy, but also from a neutral perspective, from a Manchester United fan, looking at it from just a general analysis perspective, who should Arsenal buy? So before I talk about who Arsenal should buy, I was sort of looking at their current squad and where people can play. And obviously there are people like Elneny that I haven't included in here, and players on loan like Lokonga and Tierney I haven't really included in here. Trying to include people that would probably genuinely get minutes in here, and we've not really seen Jurrien Timber yet. But you sort of look at Arsenal here, and I think that goal scorer is probably one of the number one priorities. I think potentially a right wing, but someone who can play right wing and left wing, but it's comfortable right wing in case something happens to Saka, because there's a reliance on Saka. At least you've got Trossard and Martinelli that can play left wing, probably number two, and I think a left centre mid dynamic. Now, there's been a lot of talk about Arsenal getting Subamendi, and Subamendi would be a great signing for Arsenal, but I always think you either got Declan Rice playing as a 6 and you can get a technical box-to-box midfielder, or you can put Declan Rice as an 8 and get a Subamendi type player. I think they should go for a more technical player than Subamendi, but I think Subamendi would be great. But we'll talk about the midfielders they could get. And then potentially another defender, because you've got Timber and White that can play centre-back. Timber did play centre-back pretty much all last season for Ajax, but I feel like they've been brought in for that inverted right-back role. So maybe someone that could provide, comfortable playing left centre-back if something happened to Gabriel or Saliba. I'm not sure. So they're the 4 positions I've identified for Arsenal to sign this summer, just from a neutral perspective. Look, you watch Arsenal way more than me if you're an Arsenal fan, so do tell me if you disagree. These are all the players that I think could be sold. I don't know how much money they would go for. I think you can get a bit of money for Smith Rowe. I reckon you can get 30-40 million from Nketiah. I think they could. I actually think there's a decent player in Nketiah, but not Arsenal level. So I think they could raise a little bit of money. Maybe Saudi Arabia will come in with something nice for Thomas Partey. But who do I think Arsenal should buy? So let's talk about the striker situation. They've got 5 striker targets. They've got Isak, Gyokeres, Ivan Toney, Osimhen, and Watkins. I think they're all really good options. I'm trying to think of value for money. I'm trying to think of what Arsenal need. I'm trying to think of realistic. I think Isak's brilliant, but injury prone. They probably want to avoid that, especially with Jesus. I think maybe age, looking at it, Watkins and Toney a little bit older. Osimhen's going to be crazy expensive, and he's maybe he would suit Arteta's system, but for me, Gyokeres could be the best for Arteta's system. There is reports that it's going to be 43 million. There are other reports there's an 80 million release clause, and there's very fluctuating reports on his fee, but I reckon his fee would be in the 50 to 60 million pound range, depending on competition. But he's 25 years of age. He's at Sporting Lisbon, and he's been unbelievable this season. He's the first player in all competitions this season to reach 50 goal contributions. No player, not even Mbappe, not even Bellingham, have 50 goal contributions this season. And yes, he is in the sports in the Portuguese league, but that's still unbelievable regardless. He's a complete striker. I spoke to someone that's a Benfica fan, and Benfica hate Sporting, and Benfica fan was like, no, this guy is like, he said like he's so complete. They were saying like this could be one of the great strikers to come out of the Portuguese league, and some unbelievable strikers come out of the Portuguese league. He said that this is the best striker he's seen play in the Portuguese league in recent years. He was a Benfica fan saying he's better than Darwin Núñez. Like, that's how good he's been this season. And yes, he's had a slow start to his career, but unreal at Coventry last season, unreal at Sporting this season. But what you've got with Gyokeres, is you've got this complete striker. Not only just his stats, but he's a complete striker. He can play in complex systems. He could play, Arteta likes to change things up. So he likes to rotate. He likes to be unpredictable. You've got that with Gyokeres, but he's very good at, pressing. He can lead the press. He can, sort of defend from the front. He's very, very good at that. He's decent in transition. He's got that pace. He's got that power. He can come into midfield, drop deep, win the ball. He wins the ball back quite well. But what I think makes him thrive, and what I think Premier League clubs will like about him, is he's someone that works well with teammates, providing a focal point, can combine with teammates, but he can create chances for himself out of nothing. There's a reason that I, as a Man United fan, have loved Rasmus Højlund this season, and obviously he's getting the goals now. But it was Man United gave their striker absolutely no service. At least Arsenal strikers get service. But Højlund was creating something out of nothing, and then Højlund was combining with teammates and making teammates better. And I think Gyokeres is probably the most similar profile to Højlund in that sense of this is a striker where you don't need to just keep giving him the ball loads and loads for him to do something. he makes things happen, and he makes things happen for his teammate. He's this all-round complete striker. He can win headers in the air. He can hold up the ball for teammates. That's why I always rate Harry Kane higher than Erling Haaland. Even though Erling Haaland's a better goal scorer, that's because the team he's in creates more chances. But Harry Kane, Spurs didn't create loads of chances, but Harry Kane got loads of goals for Spurs that he would make for himself, he'd make for his teammates. And he reminds me of that in a sense, Gyokeres. But he's an insane goal scorer. He's hungry. He always wants the ball. He's got a great reading of the game. He wants to pop up in dangerous areas. Like, he's that guy. And I think because he's got good physicality, because he's got good speed, you can see him trying to create separation. And he does that really well. Separates himself from the defender, using his body to get space up for a shot. Technically, he's very good. Not only is he just good physically, not only has he got the hunger, the work rate, the determination, the IQ, the reading of the game. He's adapted to all sorts of teams he's played through because he's got the IQ to understand tactics and understand and develop his role. He's technically very good. He can carry the ball, he can dribble the ball, he can get the ball from deep, and he can run at players. He likes to often go out into that left area, cut inside on his right foot. He's in his earlier careers, he's played left wing, he's played sort of as a 10, so he's happy to drop deep, he's happy to go in that left area, run into space, eat up space, dribble at people. As I said, he's clinical. You give him the ball, he scores. I don't think there's many better finishers in the Premier League than him. I mean, look at his goal scoring record. You give him the ball, he scores. Jesus, I think, is a technically great player, but when you give him the ball, he doesn't score. With Gyokeres, you've got a technically good player, but when you give him the ball, he scores, and he's a great passer, he's a great focal point, and his movement is good. And I think when I look at him, I think he runs the channels. I think he's a good ball carrier. I think he's a good passer. I think he makes the team around him better. But if you look at his stats, and yes, it is the Portuguese league, but there's even things like he's ranked third for expected goals in the league, but he's first for goals, which just shows how good he is at finishing. He's first for goals, he's first for assists, he's first for dribbles, he's first for shots. He's first for crosses, he's first for shot assists, he's first for expected assists. He's been the most creative player in the league, but also the best goal scorer, and he's only third for expected goals, which means he's overperforming that metric. Key passes, he's second. Passes attempted, he's second. That's how good he's been. And I could speak about him for ages and ages and ages. But progressive carries, successful take-ons, touches in the attacking box, progressive passes received, he's in the 99th percentile for basically all of them. He's so complete. He's so good. He's so complete. But let's talk about the right wing option. So there's a lot of right wingers on the market, but Nico Williams has mostly played left wing this season, but mostly played right wing last season. He can play either wing, and he's my option for Arsenal. I think Leao is good, but I think he's overpriced. I think Sule is good, but maybe Arsenal wants someone a little bit more experienced. I think Neto's good, but injury prone. I think Elise is good, but I think one, he's a little bit injury prone, and two, he'd be more suited to other teams. Bakayoko is a decent option. Bowen's a decent option. I feel like I've missed out someone really obvious, but I am going with Nico Williams. This is a guy that value for money could be unbelievable business for Arsenal. He's 21 years of age. He can play left wing, he can play right wing, and reportedly his release clause is only £43 million, which is ridiculous. He's got 6 goals and 13 assists in 25 starts this season, which is 9 goal contributions. He creates. He's creating. Gyokeres is there. Bosch. He can play on the left if Martinelli's out of form. He can play on the right if you want to rest Saka, because I feel like Saka's being run into the ground. As good as Saka is, sometimes I think give the poor kid a rest. You know what I mean? He's got 24 goal contributions so far this season at age 21 for club and country. He could reach that 30 goal contribution mark. He's unbelievable 1v1, and he's doing this for Bilbao, which, don't attack as much as Arsenal, don't score as many goals for Arsenal, so his stats could be even better for Arsenal. But why I like him and why I rate him, and this is another reason I love sort of wingers like Garnacho at Manchester United rather than like an Antony, is because he's a direct winger. You've got two types of wingers. You've got your Antonys and your Sanchos that don't really like to take on men, that aren't quick, that can pass the ball back, and they're pass first wingers. And then you've got your direct carry first wingers that are unpredictable, like your Garnachos. And Nico Williams is kind of in that category of wingers where he gets the ball, he just runs at you, he carries the ball from deep, but he can take on his man. He's one of those wingers, and that's probably why Manchester City wanted Doku. And I think Doku's not actually been that good for Man City, but he's one of those wingers that can take on his man, run at people, go outside, go in, just run around people, two-way winger. That's where you want to see. Unbelievable in 1v1 scenarios, unbelievable, always wants to get forward, always wants to put the ball in, always wants to get a cross off. A very creative guy, I think would thrive for Arteta, give Arsenal that directness again, and he can cut inside, he can go down the byline. The fact that he can do almost everything, is it that go into the half space, is it go out wide, go inside, go out, carry the ball from deep, makes him one of those deadly explosive 1v1 wingers, which, Pep is now wanting, which is everyone in the Premier League is now wanting to go back to these traditional wingers. But he's also got that off the ball, hard working press, technically good thing about him as well. And as you can see, progressive carries, take-ons, he's at the top. He's one of the best wingers 1v1. I think his dribbling statistics are the second best in the league, or the best for a winger, or like, is ridiculous as well. Now we're going to talk about the left centre mid, because Arsenal could go for a Human, a Nana, Weeper type guy, physical 6'8". They could go for a Subamendi and play Rice higher up. I think if the funds are there, I don't think De Jong's realistic. Andre maybe might not be quite ready, Andre or Fluminense. If the funds are there, I think they go all out for Joao Neves. If I was Arsenal and you had an opportunity to get Andre and then maybe Diomande at centre-back, or Joao Neves and miss out on a centre-back, I would say, you know what, Ben White and Timber can play centre-back, so can Gabriel, so can Saliba. I'd go and put it on Joao Neves. Joao Neves, I don't know who to compare him to. Maybe Maino, in terms of, age, technically good for his age, mature, keeps the ball well. But Joao Neves is a special talent. He's a technically elite, unbelievable special talent. And him next to Declan Rice. I mean, Manchester City want him next to Rodri as their Gundogan replacement. He can play as a 6, he can play as a CM, he can play as an attacking midfielder. I think he's best as an 8, but he has the capabilities to play as a 6. He would be 80 million, he would be a lot of money, but I think he'd be well worth it. He's someone, and you remember how young he is. And yes, he's not super tall and super physical, but his dual success rates are quite good as well. But he is good in build-up. He can control the game from deep. He's a number 8 that drops deep to control the game, break up play, recycle the ball, start attacks. He dictates the game from deep. He starts the move from deep. He recycles the ball. He gets it up the pitch. His tactical thing, and Arsenal struggled to break down low blocks earlier in the season, he could be so crucial in actually making Martinelli better if he's that left centre mid, but also helping Arsenal progress the ball more fluidly and break down those low blocks better, which they've done, to be honest, better the second half of the season. He's already represented Portugal to show how good he is. He's already won a lot of trophies, but he also is very good off the ball. I think defensively, he's really underrated. He's a lot better defensively than he gets credit for. He covers mass amounts of ground. He reads the game so well. He wins a lot of duels. He is press resistant. He's an elite passer. He's a decent duel winner. He does the lot. I see him as an all-action 8 is his best role, that can carry the ball, that can be that running threat in transition. The way he can progress the ball is unbelievable. Can arrive late in the box and score. Could play as a 6 if needed. He's got the creative outlook, got the goal-scoring outlook, got the defensive play. He's best in build-up, used to break the first line, to progress play, to get the ball moving better, which is why Arteta would want him, why Pep would want him. It's another reason why Kobbie Mainoo is so highly rated at Man United, because Man United are full of players that can't keep the ball, and Kobbie Mainoo can. And Joao Neves is one of those players that can just keep the ball. But he's got good reading of the game. He would thrive in Arteta's system under Arteta's development. And he's the only under-20 midfielder in the 80th percentile for defensive and progressive action, showing how complete he is. And has the most ball recoveries in the Liga Portugal this season. Very good defensively, very good defensive awareness. He's going to be an all-round phenomenal player. Look at passes attempted, 98th percentile, blocks, 97th percentile. Look at some of those statistics. Take-ons, he's one of the greatest dribblers. He's one of the best talents to come out of Portugal. He could be an absolute world beater. And if De Jong isn't realistic, this is probably the closest they're going to get. Now, I think if you get Joao Neves, Gyokeres, and of course Nico Williams, that will probably be Arsenal's budget gone, eaten up. But if the budget was there, the 2 centre-backs to look at is Diomande and Inacio. Now, I think Diomande, in terms of an all-round centre-back, is probably going to be the next beast. But I think Inacio is a bit like Nathan Ake, a little bit like Lisandro Martinez. He's a little bit similar to Timber, but left-sided version of Timber. He could fill in at left-back if there's no trust in Zinchenko or Tomiyasu or Timber. He could fill in at that left sort of defensive role, great in build-up, great at play. But I think Diomande would be my choice. So that's how I'd rebuild Arsenal. And I think if Arsenal got those players, I'd be terrified of them. They could win the league this season, but, Klopp leaving, City might be hit with charges. Arsenal could just get better and better and better, which is quite scary. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching today's video. Please do hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. See you next time. Bye.